Living in toxic mold can literally change your personality. I went through it myself. When you're dealing with neurotoxins, different mycotoxins that affect your brain, that cause inflammation, that cause all kind of various issues, dysregulate your immune system, cause you liver malfunction, all that. When you're dealing with these types of things, they can cause you a shift in your personality. You can become more aggressive, like most men will become more aggressive, have a little bit more rage, have a shorter fuse, be angry easier. Women on the other side will have thoughts that start racing and they feel, sad, and they feel like they can't, get a control of their thoughts and their stress, and they have to keep doing things. The mold seems to affect men and women very differently. I personally have seen this in hundreds of my clients I've worked with. And, for me personally, I experienced it. When I went through mold exposure, I was very aggressive. I felt like I had mold rage. I felt like there was parts of me that came out of me that wasn't me. Some of these things I was experiencing, saying, feeling, and I later realized I was living in a place that had black mold, and that possibly was affecting my neurological inflammation, which was causing my mood to shift. And eventually I thought that this just was who I was, and I was blaming everything on my outside circumstances, blaming it on, the people closest to me, the things that were closest to me, the job, the whatever it was at the time. And, the reality was it was actually what I was inhaling. It was what I was inhaling that was changing my perception of my reality, because my brain was inflamed, my neurotransmitters were completely thrown off, and I didn't even understand why, because I wasn't taking anything consciously that would have caused it. So I was just trying to explain these feelings by looking at my environment and say, that's the reason, not that I'm inhaling something that's neurotoxic, right? So if you have, seen a big personality shift in someone, and you've seen, health issues also, you've seen them start to have some health issues and start to really shift mentally and go down the wrong direction. If you have any belief there might be mold in your place, or that there's mold exposure, or this person had mold exposure, let them know, because it can completely change your personality and change you as a person permanently if you don't do something about it. For me, I was able to get out of it, but even within a few years of staying in a house that was, had a lot of black mold and having these aggressive tendencies, even after I got out of the place, it was tough to completely shift my behavior, because I got used to operating at this state, and eventually I had to calm my nervous system down, do the deep breathing, go ahead and restructure my storylines around my life and my accomplishments and things in my mind. If I didn't do that, I would be likely just to keep bringing this mold-induced personality with me the rest of my life, and keep on blaming everything around myself except for myself as the reason for it, when in fact the personality originated from living in a toxic house, and I carried that toxic personality with me on along, because I just didn't know how to cope with life. I blamed everything except for myself, because I had something that was affecting my brain, affecting my perception. I was not aware of what it was, so I had to blame everybody else, because otherwise it was too heavy to think it was me. It was all me in my mind. Because when I went there, I would kind of start losing my mind. I start to have anxiety in a way I couldn't handle. So if you are having personality shifts, if you're feeling like you're not yourself lately, you're disassociating, you have depersonalization, any of these shifts where you feel just like your thoughts are racing, you can't control it, you're in defense against your own thoughts, you don't know what it is. It's probably a combination of trauma with possibly something environmental. So go to my website to learn more. I have hundreds of articles, hundreds of videos on there teaching you how to heal yourself. Thanks for watching.